Welcome to the Academic Word List, List 1. The Academic Word List is made up of 570 words that are common in college-level classes. List 1 is the most common 60 words. The purpose of this video is to show you the American Standard pronunciation. I will say the word normally first, then broken into syllables, highlighting the stress pattern, and again normally. I've noticed that some students want to rush through the syllables, but that can make your speech difficult to understand. Your best bet is to copy what I'm doing until you feel more comfortable and become more fluent. So let's get started. Analyze. An-a-lize. Analyze. Approach. Approach. Area. Area. Notice that this is a real short word that has 3 syllables, so it's longer than it may appear. Area. Assess. Assess. Assume. Assume. Authority. Authority. That TH sound, that sound can be difficult for non-native speakers. So the trick is put your finger against your lips and say th, and you will feel your tongue touching your finger. You actually do need to stick your tongue out from between your teeth to make that sound correctly. It'll feel awkward and you'll feel funny doing it for a little while, but it'll pay off once you get to being able to pronounce that particular phoneme, which is really difficult and commonly difficult for non-native speakers. So practice that one a lot. Authority. Available. 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 Benefit. Ben-a-fit. Benefit. Concept. Concept. Sometimes that final T will not be aspirated. It's something that you're going to hear. If you say concept every time, no one is going to think that you're wrong. And if that's what you're comfortable saying, then do that. But you may hear people say concept. Consist. 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 Constitute. Constitute. So, unusual for English, all of the T's are actually pronounced in this word. Constitute. Context. Context. This word ends in a consonant cluster. So this is one that if you're struggling with consonant clusters, you may want to practice this word in particular. Context. Contract. So contract can be used as a noun or a verb, and because of that, it falls under the first rule for when we have a word that is used as a noun or a verb. So for the noun, it's a contract. The stress is on the first syllable, contract. If it's being used as a verb, the stress is on the second syllable, contract. So you're going to have to pay attention to how the word is being used in order to know which stress pattern you need. Create. 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 It's all the way back here in your jaw is that A sound. Data. 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 You may also hear this as data, but the pronunciation of this word has been leveling to the British standard of data since the mid-80s. So you may hear data, but for the most part, Americans say data. Define. 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 Derive. Again, derive. Distribute. Distribute. Economy. Economy. Note that the Y on the end that is frequently silent is pronounced in this case, so it's economy. Environment. Environment. You may also hear environment, but locally I have mostly heard it as environment. Establish. 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 This word can be used as a noun or a verb, but instead of the stress shifting, the pronunciation of the ending shifts. So this is pattern 2 for how to change a word from a noun to a verb. So as a noun, it's an estimate. Mit, not mate or met. Estimate. For a verb, it's estimate. So again, you have to pay attention to how it's being used, but the difference is in the way the ending is pronounced, though it's not different in the way that it is spelled. The spelling remains the same. Evident. 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 Export. This word can also be used as a noun or a verb, but the stress pattern remains the same. So, export. Export. Factor. Again, this word can be used as a noun or a verb, but the stress pattern remains the same. Factor. Factor. Finance. 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 You may hear finance, but it's unusual. It's not very common. It's usually said finance in American English. Formula. 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 Function. Function. So the C in the middle is unaspirated. It's just function. It's not function. 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 Identify. In this case, the T kind of vanishes. You may hear it if somebody is stressing it, identify, but for the most part, American speakers are going to say identify. Income. 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 Indicate. 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 Individual. Individual. Notice that second D becomes a J for no apparent reason. Individual. This happens occasionally when you see a D and a U together, so be cautious of that. Individual. Interpret. Interpret. Involve. 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 Issue. Issue. Labor. 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 Legal. Legal. Legislate. 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 Major. Major. Method. Method. Again. Method. Occur. Occur. Percent. 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 Period. 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 So you have two vowels together, but in this case, they're both pronounced separately. So it's the E is pronounced, the I is pronounced as E as a tense vowel. Period. Policy. 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 Principle. 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 Okay, this word has a noun and a verb form, and it follows rule 1. So the stress is going to shift, which means for the noun, it's proceed. Usually in context, it is pronounced as proceeds, not just proceed. There's not just one, it's usually plural, proceeds. As a verb, it's used frequently to just proceed, go ahead. So for the most part, you're going to hear proceed or proceeds. Process, process, process. Require, require, require. This word has a noun and a verb form, and it has two different stress patterns. However, it doesn't matter. The stress patterns are both used in both places. So choose a stress pattern that feels most natural to you, stick to that, and accept that you're going to hear it pronounced with two different stress patterns, sometimes by the same person. So it could be research and it could be research. It doesn't matter. Finally, we got an easy one. Respond, respond. Roll, oh, roll. That sound is coming from the middle of my mouth. Roll. Section, section. So that C in the middle is unaspirated. It's section. It's not a section. Section. Sector. Again, the C in the middle, sector, sector, is unaspirated. Significant. This word has its own weird little pronunciation issue. You can just choose one because they're completely interchangeable. Significant. The C can be pronounced as gunt. It can also be pronounced as kunt. So it can be significant or significant. Pick one. It doesn't matter. Again, a native speaker can use both or either. So you're going to hear both, but you don't have to worry about using the right one in the right context because there isn't one. They're completely interchangeable. Similar, similar, similar. Source, source, source. Specific, specific. Structure, structure. The pronunciation for this is changing because dictionaries will list it as structure, and some people will pronounce it that way. I have personally pronounced it as structure, but for the most part, it is structure. I did an informal survey of 5 other native speakers, and of the 6 of us, 4 were from Ohio, 1 was from Chicago, and 1 was from Rhode Island, and every one of them said structure first. So just practice structure and accept that you're going to hear structure. Theory. So again, theory. So the Y on the end is pronounced as an E. Very, E. So again, E, that Y on the end. Congratulations on getting through the first 60 words. Now you just have to practice pronouncing them. If you need more help, I have videos on the other academic word lists, and I'm going to be working on topics for the other word lists related to the word lists and the words. I have books for each of the word lists so that you can practice them and use them in context and get a little more information on each one. I have an activity book for further practice if that's what you would like. I am working on other books, and you can contact me. I am available for individual tutoring. So if you want to practice a lot of your pronunciation and then come to me for like a one-shot, sit down with me for an hour and go through all of these words to make sure that what you think you're saying is what you're actually saying, we can do that too. Just let me know what you need, and good luck. I know you're going to do great.